First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Welcome back to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. On this show, if you've watched this show, you know we cover a wide range of topics, whether that's breaking news, deeper dives into news stories, talking about events, talking about things that are happening live, but also we cover technology and how it may be changing our lives in different ways. Is it good? Is it bad? We cover a wide range on that as well. And one thing that we're going to be talking about today is something called the Gatsby app. Now, this is an app designed to change the way we interact with our live streaming television. And part of that is adding in some of the social aspects that we get from other apps, bringing that into one app. There's a whole lot involved with it, and we cover all of that because we speak to the owner and the founder, the creator of the app, Gatsby Frimpong, about why it is he created it, what it is that it does, and how maybe it could change up the way that we watch television, the way we share things, the way we talk about things with other people. So since we are broadcasting and live streaming on a number of different apps, feel free to drop in your comments, your thoughts about this, whether you would look forward to something like this, whether this is something that you wouldn't use. I want to hear what it is. So please drop those comments in there as we watch this together. So this interview was actually conducted previously, but perfectly fine right now. So we're going to go ahead and play it. And this first question that I asked Gatsby is just to explain what exactly this app does.
So what Gatsby TV is this a platform that enables you to do essentially three things really well. One, it aggregates all of your streaming content across multiple platforms. Two, it allows you to add a watch list for all these things. And then three, and I would say what our secret sauce is it allows you to actually send and receive recommendations for TV shows and movies.
Wow. So by aggregating all these streaming services, and I know we've got some examples too that we'll show here of that, but how does that work exactly? So is this bringing in there's so many different streaming platforms, let's be honest. It brings them all in together into one location?
Yeah, that's exactly what it does. And so sort of the TV experience today is that you sort of go in and out of Hulu, HBO Max, Netflix, etc. And for me, that was really cumbersome and really tiresome. And so there's some platforms out there that kind of allow you to aggregate it. Apple TV tries to make an effort to do that. But one of the things that inherently happens whenever one of the media providers like Apple tries to do it is they then, just because of the way business works, they try to promote their things over others and try to hide things. And so you really get this sort of discontiguous and sort of bad experience from it. So within the Gatsby app, you have Netflix alongside Hulu and alongside HBO Max, etc. And what that allows you to do is have, again, multiple watch lists for multiple different networks all in one place. And then you can also see all the ratings for all of these things all in one place, so you know what you're watching before you actually get into it.
So do you watch them through the app, or this just brings it to a location where you can actually understand what's on each app?
Yes, so it actually does both. So the platform in and of itself, it will bring everything all into one place. So you would see Bridgerton alongside something from Hulu, all in sort of like the same place. So you don't actually know what network things are on until you actually go to the specific show. So if you go to Vacation Friends 2 is actually coming out. I believe it's actually already out on Hulu today. What will happen is you search for Vacation Friends 2, you click on it, looks like it's just a part of the platform. As you click on it, you say, aha, okay, it's available on Hulu. I have a Hulu subscription. I'll just essentially go to that. And when you click the Hulu link that we have, it'll open up Hulu automatically and it'll start playing it on your phone, and you can stream it to the TV that's in your living room.
That's pretty handy, actually, to be able to pull up everything all at once. I want to go back into the tech side of it, but let's take a second and do the backstory of this. So what made you mentioned that, you were frustrated. We've probably all had that same frustration before of, what app is this on? How do I find this? And there's so many different apps to go search through. But really, what was your backstory on wanting to create something to overcome that?
I think it's a similar story to a lot of families out there. Essentially, I'd get home from work, and at the time I was actually working on Google, so working on very specific technological things in terms of targeting people, et cetera. And I was also an engineer and sort of had a background in building things. And what was uniquely the same, I would say, about my background that a lot of people share is I would come home from a long day of work and I'd be sitting there with my partner. And I always sort of felt like there was this sort of like trying to find a TV show or movie always sort of like compromise a relationship in some sort of way, because she would want to watch something I wouldn't want to watch. It would start this contention. And then we spend 30 to 40 minutes actually just kind of looking through things and then finally agreeing to watch The Office for the 1,000th time. And so what I said to myself is, if I'm spending my entire day working on solutions for other people, why can't I find a solution for myself so that my girlfriend and I can sit down, agree on something to watch, and then watch it within 5 minutes and just have a wonderful, just sort of quiet evening together.
Yeah, I have also fallen into that, watching The Office for the 1,000th time. It's fine, but 1,000 times over and over, it gets old. But so you go from that problem that a lot of people have, the problem that you were having, you create this app, and then you also brought in a social aspect to it. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so in terms of the social aspect, the interesting thing to me about the Netflix algorithm, Hulu algorithm, HBO Max, you name it, is that what they're doing, and I've spent a lot of time, I'm actually have studied at Stanford and UC Berkeley on recommendation systems and how the whole things work. And essentially what happens, and also at my time at Google, is that these recommendation systems, they look at what you've done in the past, and then they try to make predictions on what they think that you're going to do in the future. But to me, and this was sort of my hypothesis in terms of all this, is that yes, computers do a lot of things really well, but they don't necessarily help us pick shows very well. And that's why people are spending so much time looking for shows. And so when I thought about why it takes me so long to find a show, I said, well, the problem I have here is that generally what actually happens is an offline conversation where I'm having lunch with a colleague, or I'm talking on the phone with my best friend, or maybe a cousin, a family member, whoever it may be, is telling me about some sort of show they're watching. And I say, okay, yeah, I'll watch that show. And essentially what ends up happening is that I actually forget about it. Right. It's just kind of stored in my short-term memory. Unfortunately, I'm not a genius. So a lot of times it doesn't go to my long-term memory. So 24, 48, a week later, however long it may be, I forget about the recommendation. And then voila, I'm sitting there with my partner trying to find something to watch. And I don't remember the 5, 10 recommendations I've been given over the week. So in terms of the social aspect, it takes that offline conversation that you generally have at the water cooler or at lunch, whatever it may be, and makes it online. So that within this specific scenario, what ends up happening is someone tells you about a new show. They say, hey, this thing is coming out. You should check it out. It's Equalizer 3, it's Vacation Friends 2, whatever it may be. They send you the recommendation on the platform. And the next time you open up the app, whether it be on your mobile device or on your TV, you'll see your recommendation from your best friend or your colleague or your friend right there. And you say, oh, yeah, that's the show that they recommended. I'm going to go ahead and watch that.
So yeah, so they can send them to you, so you don't have to remember them every time. That makes a lot of sense when it comes to that. So creating this, how long has this app been out? I know that there's a version that's out right now. I downloaded it myself to take a look at it, and we've got some examples of that as well. But how long has it been out, and what are your plans with it as far as expanding it?
Yeah, so right now it's actually been out I was working on it part-time while I was at Google for a few years, but decided recently this year that, hey, I want to make this my lifetime work. I'm going to work on this full-time. So I've been working on it for the past about 4 months now, full-time. And the idea right now is that we're growing our user base. We've got thousands and thousands of users, people actively using it, people who have their problems being solved. And the idea now is actually to get some outside funding, because it's essentially been bootstrapped by myself and my co-founder, Michael Fickle. And we think we're onto something. So we want to take this from an app that has thousands of users to millions of users to billions of users. And we think that this should be fairly simple, because I can't think of a person who hasn't watched TV, and I can't think of a person who hasn't had a hard time finding something on TV. And with 500,000 TV shows and movies in the English-speaking world, we should never, ever watch a bad movie. And that's the problem, or TV show. And that's the problem we're looking to solve.
And that's really essentially the bottom line with technology, right? Is finding problems and solving them. And this is definitely a problem that a lot of people have. The other question I got to ask too, just from this standpoint, from a business standpoint, is how does the monetization work on this?
Yeah, so right now there really is no inherent monetization, just burning a hole through my own pocket. So that's why I'm looking for outside investment right now. But the idea, and sort of to sum up the monetization strategy going forward, at least in the far off future, is that, again, and this goes back from my time working at Google, is one thing that's interesting to me about Google's model, and Facebook has the same sort of model, is they sort of match the person with the problem with the right solution at the right time. So if you're looking for a hammer, you type in Google search hammer, and then all of a sudden you'll see ad for Home Depot or Lowe's, whatever it may be. And so this is part of the reason why these companies are making so much money. And why the thing that I thought was interesting about TV, and I'll use American football as an example, is let's say you're watching the Giants versus the Raiders sometime in the near future, right? What you're going to generally get is beer commercial after truck commercial after beer commercial after truck commercial. And the problem for the advertisers and the networks is that they can't really give personalized ads to people because they're not quite sure who's on the other side. And so they give ads that are based on a demographic they believe is watching that TV show or movie. And so what we're going to do is essentially create a platform which allows individuals to actually have individualized streaming commercials also. So if you know that you like a certain influencer, you've been watching certain types of movies, rather than getting truck commercial, beer commercial, maybe you'll get a Nike athletic ad, and then maybe you'll get a juice ad or something like that, because we know that you're someone who's more fitness inclined rather than someone who's drinking beer and driving Chevys or Ford F-150s all day. So that's essentially the genesis of how we plan to sort of change not only how people find media, but the advertising industry within TV and streaming as a whole.
Well, it's definitely a really interesting solution to the problem. I love seeing it when people try to come up with different solutions for these kinds of things. And certainly that's tackling a lot of, like you said at the beginning, it's an issue that we've all had. I mean, we've all watched the same shows over and over because nobody can come to a decision or forget about the recommendations. I started writing mine down and then I forget to write them down. And same issue. I end up with that same problem. So, anything that you want to let people know about too, when it comes to Gatsby, as far as, where they can try it out or a recommendation for them?
Yeah, no problem at all. So you can try out the app by downloading on your mobile device. So we're available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. You just type Gatsby TV in, go ahead and download it. If you're having a great time with it, make sure to review it, give it 5 stars. And the sky's the limit from there. We plan on creating a version of this for Apple TV. We're currently working on that. And we're also working on a more robust web service also, so that you can find us anywhere on any device and easily be able to aggregate everything all in one place. Because I guess the last thing I'll also say on that is, not only are you trying to help people find where to find the right TV show or movie, but lastly, what we're also doing for users is whenever you find a TV show or movie that you're interested in, the app will tell you where you can watch it via subscription, free, or where you can buy it. So we're trying to save people money too in terms of the entertainment experience.
I guess I did have one last question too.
Yeah.
You mentioned you have a co-founder for the app. Who got to pick the name?
The guy that has the most equity. So that's a
that's the right answer. That's always the right answer. All right. Well, Gatsby, thank you very much. Really appreciate you joining us here on Fox 12 Now and talking about this. Love talking about entrepreneurship and tech solutions to problems. And thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thanks for having me.
And best. All right, so there we go again, talking to Gatsby from talking about his app, Gatsby, and about how that could change up how we watch television and share that information with other people. So we, again, cover a wide range of topics on Fox 12 Now, and that's why I thank everybody for joining us, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, our apps, the website, lots of places to find us and to share the show. So if you find an episode that you think is very interesting, something that we've covered, maybe that's informative for you or something you think other people should know about, please feel free to share that on your own social media channels. It's always a great way to get the word out about the show and just to make sure that this information is getting out there to people. There's a lot of things that I think, this is news that people need to know about, especially even at the beginning of the show, we're talking about the USO, talking about some of these different nonprofits, a great way to help out with that. So I'm signing off for right now, but if there is breaking news that happens here in the next couple of hours before our 4 p.m. newscast, you will find me right back here bringing that news and information to you. This is the place to go to anytime between 1 and 4 p.m. Pacific. This is the best place. So we will have that info for you. We will let you know what's going on when it comes to that. So again, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.